Welcome back to Volume 9, Part 1, Day 1. This Volume 9 series is going to allow you to tap into the wisdom of the ages. Volume 9 is all about the wisdom of philosophers and gurus. Now, what does this have to do with living your life in recovery? It has everything to do with it, because living your life addiction-free requires gaining new skills. Wisdom practice is a skill. How many times do we know the right thing to do, yet we still make bad choices? Ancient wisdom lets us look behind the curtain into the why behind changing your mindset. We will start with revenge. How many times do you have access to someone telling you you should do this instead of that, and you want to ask why? You may get a simple reason, but the in-depth reason is much more interesting and much more complex. So let's talk about how Rumi counsels against revenge. He emphasizes, instead of revenge, that holding on to anger or retaliation keeps a person trapped in spiritual and emotional turmoil. His most direct translated quote, explicitly addressing revenge, is, quote, "The king of love has you in a checkmate. Do not be angry. Do not look for revenge. If you do, you enter into annihilation's garden and contemplate. The paradise that lives in your eternal soul is much greater." In broader Sufi philosophy and Rumi's writings, the themes surrounding hurt, betrayal, and retaliation consistently focus on transformation and letting go, on transcending conflict, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field, and I'll meet you there, he says. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about on healing over retaliation. The wound is the place where the light enters you. That's probably one of his most popular and famous quotes. Again, the wound is the place where the light enters you. So in other words, that means where you hurt most or where you've been damaged most, and the reason that you want revenge is also the solution to your thinking in that particular way. To continue on grace and forgiveness, forgiveness is the fragrance of the flower. It's the fragrance that the flower gives when it is crushed, rather than seeking justice or retribution through personal vengeance. Rumi's teaching encourages redirecting your energy inward, viewing difficult encounters as mirrors or catalysts for personal growth rather than reasons to strike back. Ultimately, you're the beneficiary of being able to make better choices than this. There was a period of time that I was part of a prison ministry, and more times than not, the people who were in prison for having retaliated against someone now had time to think about it, and 99% of the time they would say that was not worth it. it was definitely not worth it for me to strike back. Many times the striking back was due to their ego, or sometimes something as simple as not looking bad. I had a gentleman, unfortunately, that I met on one of those journeys into the prisons that had actually murdered his wife. And it was because while he was at work, some people in the neighborhood told him that she was talking to some other man who lived up the block. Not that she was sleeping with the other man, not that she had done anything with the other man that they knew about. They just simply said that. He came home, confronted her, and I don't even think he meant to kill her. But he ended up fighting with her, beating her to the point where she ended up dying as a result of her injuries. The reason that he was complaining to me about it in the first place was because he had a life in prison and his kids would not speak to him. And we started the conversation by him alluding to the fact that he doesn't understand why his kids won't speak to him, because in this prison ministry, we're not allowed to ask anybody why they're in there. But if they volunteer it, we can discuss it. And in this particular case, he thought that they should have forgiven him by now. And that's why we got into the discussion of why the kids considered this to be unforgivable. But think about it. He wasn't very forgiving of her. And so it resulted in his entire life being spent in prison. Now, this is an extreme example, and I'm not saying revenge always leads to something like that. That's not the point. The point is there's some better choices that you can make in almost every situation. A lot of people like to use extreme examples in these cases and say, well, suppose someone, harmed your child, your mother, someone very close to you. Obviously, there's times when revenge takes on different modes. You're not always able to contain yourself. But what I found is if at least your goal is in the right place and your goal is to make the right choice, it'll extend to other things. And so the whole idea with all of these things and examples of wisdom is to err on the side of caution and making the right choice. If your intent is good, you will usually make the right choice. The second thing is, if you at least think about it for a couple of days before you retaliate on something you feel you have to retaliate on, you'll usually make better choices than if you do it out of impulse. Let me give you a little bit more insight into who this very wise man is. Rumi lived from 1207 to 1273, and he was a 13th century Persian poet, scholar, and theologian, and Sufi mystic, whose writings on love, spirituality, and human connection transcend national and cultural borders. He followed in his father's footsteps as a theologian. He was a highly respected teacher in his time. Amazingly, his wisdom has withstood centuries, and these truths are as relevant today as they were in ancient times. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Volume 9, Part 2. Thank you.